We're going on the road for 10 days.
Yeah, we are.
Are you a light packer or a heavy packer?
Heavy packer for sure. I way overpack.
Way overpacked.
It's not even close.
It's my first time bringing a real suitcase, so I packed heavy.
Pretty heavy, especially like couple different weather options here, right? So got a couple jackets, ball cap, toques, lots of stuff.
I'd say a medium, somewhere in the medium. I bring what I need and I'll buy something if I forgot it, you know?
Heavy packer for sure. Lots of clothes with me.
Heavy packer. Big suitcase.
I'd say I'm like a medium. I think I've been around long enough to figure it out.
Light packer for sure.
Heavy for sure. Never know. Yeah, now with the new rules though, you can dress how you like. It's changed things a little bit, but I think I got a good handle on it now. All the years in the league.
Whatever I need, so kind of in the middle.
I'm somewhere in the middle, I think. I have a big suitcase, but I got some space in there.
Light packer. Always a light packer.
Heavy. I hate to admit it, but
I would say I'm a heavy packer.
Probably somewhere in the middle.
Heavy.
heavy packer.
What would you be?
First off, Dylan DeMello is the most committed to life questions.
100%. He's fantastic at them.
He's the most committed to it. There's the actual thought process that goes in there.
Agreed.
There's a lot that just give 10% effort, but DeMello, 100%. I'm a heavy packer.
Yeah.
I've tried to reduce things, but sometimes you're like, I got to work out, and then I need a certain amount of underwear and socks and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't bring multiple pairs of shoes ever. I just have 2 pairs of shoes, my running shoes and my dress shoes.
Okay.
I don't go brown. I don't go black. In terms of I need this. Why?
All right. You know what? We're
What?
just going to get right into the show.
Okay,
now,
I'm
'cause
sure
otherwise this
Aaron
is gonna
probably
be,
watches
this
you
is
get
going
like
to
when
be,
you pack. Aaron must go, oh my lord, do you really
This-
need this?
No, I'm a light packer.
Are you?
Not at all.
I
Everyone,
thought lies.
good afternoon. I'm
Lies.
Sara Lusky. He's
You
Jamie
sit on the
Thomas.
throne of lies.
This is the latest edition of Check, and we're getting you ready for the Winnipeg Jets, who the question was appropriate because they are hitting the road, or they've hit
Again.
the road. Yes, this time for a 5-game road trip. It starts tonight in Washington. Love to see a bunch of you already in the chat. I love see what do we want to know from you. Yes, people are excited to see some of the debuts today, but no, we want to know. So would you be a heavy packer? And I like
That's a good one.
when you
We're
go
gonna
on the
do themes
road.
every show now. I think.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've decided
Hey,
right now.
we're all.
I'm sure you'll kibosh it after the show is over, but as of this show, I've decided. that
We
we're gonna
love
do a
to
theme.
see so many of you in the chat, and let's get that conversation going as you watch us on X, YouTube, Facebook, and available in podcast form. Very excited for today because Elliotte Friedman is going to join us from
Right.
Sportsnet.
Okay,
And
so
32 thoughts.
we were listening to the podcast, or I was, so I don't want to speak for you.
Yep.
Listening to it, and it goes, whoa, Canada, because holy cow.
Yeah.
It is bleak out there right now if you're a fan of a Canadian team. Not this one, the other 6 teams. I like the answer from Mary Jane a little bit earlier because that was the one I was going to say. Where Vladdy, you pack, and then you're like, oh yeah, I forgot something. I'll just buy it. Back to the game. Where was I?
That's an excellent question.
Where was I going? Where was I going with that?
I'm not sure. So this is kicking off the road trip. They've got 5 games.
Yeah.
Starting tonight, though, it's 3 and 4 days. And so what do you think of this road trip as they're embarking on it right now?
Well, first off, the time zone's fantastic.
Yeah.
Also, like looking at the opponents that are in front of them, like, Carolina is always hard in Raleigh. Like that's a tough game. Washington will be tough. They won 4 of their last 5. Nashville is kind of that outlier. They're last in the conference, but they always play Winnipeg tough, and then Buffalo and Montreal. So like there's a desperate need to win at least 3 of 5 of this trip. There's no question about that, especially where the standings are as tight as they are, but something's got to get going here. And a lot of that ties into some possibly the line changes, which we'll go over here momentarily. There's a debut going on here tonight in Washington, but just 5-on-5, they got to get going. Somebody else besides the Scheifele line's got to start producing.
Well, and the Scheifele line has run a little bit cold.
Yeah, so that's why
Yeah.
the issues 5-on-5 are starting to pop up because no one else is scoring. And we've seen when they come traditionally, and most of the time, whenever the Jets are on home ice, the Scheifele line runs the show. And that was not the case in this last homestand. So, and then you just saw the issues if they're not going, what happens? So something, and in most just playing Captain Obvious, somebody else on the second, third, and fourth lines has to get going here.
Well, and because of that, I think that we saw Scott Arniel mix up the line. So the Jets practiced yesterday here in Winnipeg before flying to Washington. Do we have the lines?
We sure do. I'm prepared this time.
Oh, so excited for that.
Fire those up.
This, and based on morning skate, which has already taken place as
Look at that
well,
face.
this is what our projected lines are for this evening. You'll notice some changes. Vladimir Mesnikov switches back into the middle.
Right.
Tanner Pearson up on that second line as well. Morgan Barron out of the middle. He goes left wing. So a lot of changes. And then on the blue line with no Neil Pionk, who we will note have skated again before morning skate.
And today
so he
he's
skated
in a
yesterday.
normal jersey today too as
And
well.
today he skated again. He didn't take part in the morning skate, but
Yeah.
he was out there beforehand. So positive sign that we'll see him at some point on this road trip. But it has opened the door for an NHL debut, a hot lap going tonight. Looking forward to it. Elias Salomon.
Yeah, very excited to see Elias Salamonson. Seen plenty of him at the rookie tournament in Penticton and Montreal, respectively. He's got some preseason games under his belt, but the smile would not come off his face yesterday when talking about that. But before we get to Elias Salomonson's debut, let's go to what Arnie thought about, why he has tinkered so much with the bottom three lines. So that's another one of the themes here too, is like the confidence that they understand it's a good team. They're going to get around to it. It's just maybe the urgency has to pick up a little bit.
Well, I think that as well, if you look at the numbers, although the results haven't been there in the
Mhm.
last 9 games, and certainly you look at some of even strength goals in
Right.
the last 9 games since November 4th.
15.
Like, it's not good. They're
No.
30th in the league when it comes to it. But there are a number of metrics that are trending in the right direction defensively, which is key for them. Because Scott Arniel spoke yesterday about how, although they had the much better record in the first 12 games, it wasn't a sustainable style of game that they were playing in order to be able to have success for 82 games. Now they aren't getting the results that they want. But they've at least trended in some way. There
Yeah.
are no moral victories.
Right.
You need the 2 points desperately, but at least, you're not looking at it. There are some teams that you look at and think there are fundamental issues with this team
Mhm.
that you don't see any positives. That's not the case with the Winnipeg Jets.
And another thing too, when this has been consistent with this team over the last 3 years, I would even say that you could ask them what's wrong, and they'll have an answer for you. When it's like, I don't know what's wrong,
Yeah.
that's when you have issues.
Yeah.
And you've never heard that from this team, especially this year. So,
No. So we mentioned that Salomonson will be making his debut tonight, which
Yeah.
will be pretty exciting for him. His family, his parents were going to try to get in from Sweden,
so they haven't.
but they were not able to get in.
Oh,
It was just too quick of a turnaround. Unfortunately, we were trying to make it.
but his girlfriend will be there, I
Okay.
believe.
Yes.
So that's nice.
So it should be great. But here's Salomonson on making his debut.
So Arneal was talking about the matching
Yes.
up with Dylan Sandberg. So Dylan Sandberg obviously plays with Neil Pionk a lot of the times, or most times. With Neil out, Salamonson steps in. I think it's a perfect place for him because of how good of a defenseman that Sandberg is. This will certainly help Elias Salamonson in his first game and get over those nerves. You're going up against Tom Wilson. You're going against Alexander Ovechkin, Strome. Like, there's a lot of dangerous players on that roster that you're going to have to face. But I think he's played enough preseason games. He's been in this system for a while that I don't see him really feeling out of place. But Dylan Sandberg is the right guy to put him with.
Yeah, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see if he sticks with Sandberg throughout the entire game. Obviously, they don't have last change being on the road, and it was one of the things that when Scott Arneal was asked about putting the two of them together, he did also kind of couch it by saying, "We'll see how it goes in terms of matchups. He might need to adjust things around. How does Elias fit in right away? Is he struggling against Washington? Is he excelling? Different scenarios, obviously. But it's always exciting when you see someone. We should see 2 NHL debuts on this road trip because expecting Thomas Milic to make his debut this weekend. And it's just, there's nothing better.
No, but
I just love the excitement.
There's so few, because they're such an older team. You just don't, there's not many kids breaking in to this roster right now. So for Salamonson to get his debut tonight at the beginning part of this road trip, and certainly Thomas Milic a little bit later, it's great. You know, funny thing yesterday with Paul Friedman, he kept asking questions, trying to get out of Salamonson that he was going to play today. And he finally, but yeah, I'm playing. So it's usually you get it from the coach, and that's why kind of Arnie said, well, we'll see how it goes. But Salamonson is in tonight. We saw him in the morning lineup.
Yeah, so look forward to seeing that. As we mentioned off the top, Elliotte Friedman is going to join us shortly. And one of the things that, we haven't gone back and looked at the last game yet. The Winnipeg Jets shutout against Minnesota, not the result that they were looking for. This is the 3rd shutout already for the Jets. They were shut out only one time through 82 games last season. But one of the things that has been costly, as much as we said that there are elements of their game that have been improving, the penalty kill is an area that has struggled in the last couple of games, specifically in terms of
last 9, 74.1%.
Yeah, and then in the last 2 games, we've seen shorthanded goals. So it started against Carolina. If we want to roll,
Jordan Stahl now. Mark Scheifele over the logo at center, leaving it. That's poked away by Miller, and this is Sebastian Aho shorthanded. Corsi getting back. Aho, stop recovery, rebound, they score. And it's the local boy, Jarvis, a shorthanded goal, and Carolina leads it 3-2.
So particularly costly in a tied game.
Yeah.
And I mean, you obviously never want to give up a shorthanded goal. And then
they hadn't given up one at that point. I think there's only 7 teams that hadn't given up one yet this year. So 20 plus games.
And then once again against Minnesota, another short.
Bringing it in, Scheifele. Passed it off the end boards. Now a 2-on-1 shorthanded. Johansson hustling back to make it 2-on-2. Perfetti. Faber scores. For the 2nd straight game, the Jets have allowed a shorthanded goal. And it's 2-0 Minnesota.
So Minnesota coming in had only given up 17 goals the entire month of November in 10 games. So 1.7 goals against per game. They were playing tight defensively. And the Jets had, to the Jets' credit, there were a lot of chances in the first period. They had plenty of chances in the second, just they weren't going in. So to give up that goal in a 1-0 game, that was killer, and it killed a lot of momentum for the Jets against Carolina as well. So after the game against Minnesota, if they lost 3-0, Scott Arneal, one of the first questions he was asked about is the shorthanded goals against.
Oh, it's a huge concern. Obviously, the other night it was a tie game, and it was a game winner. And tonight we're down 1, and instead of staying in games, it's we get beat up ice. 2 games in a row we got beat up ice, and some other things happened prior to that, whether it's a turnover or where it's a puck battle on the wall. But you can't get beat up the ice like we did 2 games in a row.
And it's something you're going up against a Washington team now that, I mean, if you want to look specifically at special teams, their special teams haven't been particularly special.
It's so weird to me that Washington's power play is as bad as it is year over year. And yet they had a ton of success last year. They're up there with the Jets in terms of, competing for the President's Trophy, but their power play is terrible.
Yeah. And their penalty kill is kind of average as well. But This is so the Jets go into Washington tonight, and they're going up against a Capitals team that is on the outside of the playoff picture at the moment, similar to the Winnipeg Jets. But this is a team that looks to be finding its groove. They're 4-1 in their last 5 games. Tom Wilson, Alexander Ovechkin, Jacob Chychrun in particular, leading the way. Chychrun has been on fire for them. This will not be an easy out for the Jets.
No, and it's a place they don't have a lot of success. They won there last year, swept the season series, but they were 2 very tight hockey games. So it's a challenging place to start the road trip. But if you start trying to defend the way that you have been, then I think it's okay. And one thing I do want to ask Elliotte Friedman when he comes on, the American Thanksgiving is tomorrow, and a lot of pundits look at that as the place where if you're not in a playoff spot, it's really tough sledding for you. And especially this year with this league being all those 3-point games, I think it's 25% of the games have gone to extra time.
We were looking at that just beforehand. It's one of the highest that it's been since the overtimes were reintroduced back in the early 80s. And so with so many games going to it, it's why you can't afford to be losing in regulation, and why some of the teams, it's concerning if you see extended streaks without being able to get points.
Zach, there's a stat. Can you just throw it up? It's right by expected lines. There you go. In each of the last 3 years in the team outside of the playoff spot on U.S. Thanksgiving rebounded all the way to the Stanley Cup final appearance. So maybe this is where we're going to go for the Jets. It was Florida in 22-23 and Edmonton in 24 and 25. Edmonton's outside of a playoff spot right now, but they have the horses to turn that around real fast, as we've seen in years past. But I'm sure even in Edmonton, they're getting really tired of these slow starts. But it puts so much more pressure on you when you're not in a playoff spot at this time of year, and especially this year because of all the 3-point games are going on, how tight all the standings are. And yes, the Western Conference is starting to separate itself, but the East is like just tight as crazy. Like the Toronto Maple Leafs being last in the East is the last thing I would ever expect, even with all the injuries that they have. So it is imperative that the Jets get this thing rolling here right away.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at there's 15 games, so 15 games on the schedule tonight. So all but 2 teams in action. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any sort of separation. Again, you and I often discuss with standings at this point in time. Kelly would read this.
Yeah, I will for sure.
That you and I often talk about at this point in time, when you look at standings, I always think it's important to go by points percentage. And that's something that Pierre LeBrun really harps on. But I think it's true because you look at some teams. Edmonton has played I want to say 3 or 4 more games than Winnipeg has. So you want to look at point percentage for it. Winnipeg, just needs to find their game. You know that it's there. Obviously injuries have played a role, trying to integrate everybody into the lineup, the new faces. I think they just have not had that chemistry yet that has become synonymous with the Jets. Yeah,
and so the third line is new, but not so new because Alex Iafallo has played with Nino Niederreiter and Adam Lowry plenty of times. So I love that line all day long. The one I'm taking a look at here this evening is Jonathan Toews with Morgan Barron. So Morgan Barron moves from the middle to the left side, and he said a younger version of him would be so excited about this opportunity. But that's another, Jonathan Toews has to get going, and maybe this is the way they do it. I like the, Vladimir Mesnikov got off to a great start to the year. You heard Scott O'Neill talk about how things are starting to happen with the puck on his stick. I'm starting to see things happening with Gustav Nyquist too. Yeah. He's on the right side of that Jonathan Toews line, and that's where you're hoping things start to get going here right away. But there are, your penalty kill, your power play, and your 5-on-5 game has got to get better. And you got to take some of the pressure off Eric Comrie, who's probably feeling a lot of it right now without Connor Hellebuck in the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, I've been asked a lot on interviews have been done about what I've thought of Jonathan Toews' game so far.
Yeah.
And I always say that I feel as if we need to provide, a little bit of grace, considering that he's been out of the lineup for 2 years. And it's not just that he's recovering from, say, a knee injury. I mean, some really significant health issues that he had. And he's 37. But much like what you said, even though I still think that it's not to be surprising, maybe, that it's been slow. Okay, it's got to get going. And it's become magnified that much more because all the other lines right now have gone cold.
Right. And you were hoping that you've solved your second centerman puzzle.
Which has just been it feels like forever.
Right. Since Brian Little.
Has been a constant, and even in the final years of Brian Little, it was something that was often talked about, right? Is do the Jets need to find someone, move Brian down the lineup as well? So it has been something that the Winnipeg Jets have dealt with for a number of years now, looking for that perfect fit.
All right. Trying to, as always, I like to introduce people by the texting message. Asked Elliotte Friedman to come on the show. I said, Sarah's excited. Does 140 or 150 Eastern work better for you? He said 150 is good. No way Sarah's excited. She's heard enough of me over the years to neither confirm or deny those rumors. Sarah Lesky and Elliotte Friedman coming on the show right now. How could anyone ever get tired of you, buddy? That's just the question I have. She's very
Ask my wife. She's got a lot of answers. A lot of answers.
Hey, how's it going? Like when you put the pod together, when you guys are taping the pod and you guys look at the standings, you're like, what the heck is going on with the Canadian teams? And as working at Mothership, the success of the Canadian teams is so important. So a little bit of sweating going on at Sportsnet right now.
Well, nobody would sweat more than David Amber. Like I'm like I try to stay pretty detached from it. It's like, you know what it's like? It's like people who say, oh, this Super Bowl is not a good ratings matchup, or this NBA Finals is not a great ratings matchup, or this Stanley Cup Finals is not a great ratings matchup. I've never liked that kind of talk, and I've always tried to treat it like, all right, there's 2 billion people watching, even though there aren't, so I better be good. But there are some people who really sweat out this kind of stuff. And Amber is one of them. Like on the third day of the season, if the Canadian teams go 0 for 5, David needs 7 hours of therapy. So I know he's really struggling right now.
Elliotte, there's always the talk about how American Thanksgiving, you want to be in the top 8 with respect to each conference. Do you believe that that's still as relevant as what it was maybe a number of years ago? Is that still a marker that you use in order to maybe help predict postseason teams?
Sarah, I think it's still relevant because the history dictates that it's still relevant. Like teams like Montreal last year, or the Blues in 2019, that were sort of last place in December and make the playoffs. They're few and far between. Yeah. But I also have, because I just can't do what everybody else does, I also come up with a metric of my own. And basically, if you look at full 82 game seasons in the cap era, if you're 4 points out on November 1st, there's been 72 teams that have been 4 points out of the playoffs after games on November 1st. 10 of them have made the playoffs. So I think the loser point has really changed the NHL. It's made it very hard to catch up. Now, I have never seen anything like the Eastern Conference this year, where everybody is jumbled so closely. But in the West, there were 3 teams that are trying to beat that total or that number, and it's Calgary, St. Louis, and Nashville. And even now we're 25 days later, and it doesn't look great for those teams at all. So I just think now what the loser point has done, Sarah, is that if you fall behind too quickly, it used to be Thanksgiving. I think it's even earlier than Thanksgiving now. You're in trouble if you start badly in this league.
And that's just the way things have gone and how tight the league is. Of all the Canadian teams, Elliotte, and I know you just talked about Calgary. Let's put Calgary to the side. Which of the Canadian teams is, like, in your mind, in a lot of trouble outside of the Flames?
I don't like the way the Oilers are playing, especially last night, but I just think they're too good, right? Like I can't panic about them. I really don't like the way Toronto is playing. They got some good injury news. It looks like, Matthews and Nyes are going to be back tonight in Columbus, but I don't like the way they're playing. And last year, goaltending cleaned up a lot of their messes. They had the second best goaltending in the league. This year, they don't. Vancouver, for me, has played really hard, but I don't like where they are. And, the fact that they're starting to ask about their players, or to people to make offers on their players, kind of tells you where they are. So I just think Edmonton's too good. I don't like where Vancouver is, and I don't like the way Toronto's playing. So those are the situations I don't like right now. I'll tell you this: I'd be more concerned about the Jets if Hellebuyck was long term.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they're hopeful he's going to be on the ice in the not too distant future. So as long as you can stabilize yourselves over the next couple weeks, I think you should be okay.
You mentioned about Vancouver, and now there's the talk has come out that, you know, the majority of their veterans, at least, they would be willing to listen to, although there are a lot of no trade clauses on that roster. Do you think that this is we're going to start to see trades earlier this season, or because of how close everybody is, specifically in the East, as you were referencing, do you think that it could be closer to the deadline, like what we've seen in years past?
Sarah, I thought we're going to wait, but Jim Rutherford, whenever Jim Rutherford puts on his bathing suit and jumps into the pool, that's usually a sign to get ready. If you look at his history, you know when he won the Stanley Cup in Carolina, they traded for Doug Weight and Mark Recchi early. When he took over in Pittsburgh and they won the Stanley Cup, he traded for Trevor Daley really early. When he does not like to wait. As a matter of fact, I wish there were more people like him. It would make our job a lot more interesting. But when Jim Rutherford and by extension Patrick Alvin sends a note out saying we're ready to listen, I think everybody has to get ready. And I think the name that probably is up front there is Sherwood. He's an unrestricted free agent. He's having a great season. He is on a heater. He's shooting 28%, but he's on a contract that a lot of teams can handle. It's not a lot of money, and that's the one that people are kind of honing in on right now.
It was a lot of surprises when Brad Lambert got sent back to the American Hockey League, and then the news comes out that he's looking to, agent and company are looking to move him. What are you hearing on that front?
Well, like I said, like you said, he's been given permission to talk.
Yeah.
I always go, I have a line, the surest predictor of future behavior is past behavior.
Yes.
And, the thing about Kevin Cheveldayoff is he's consistent, right? He won't be bullied. He won't be pressured into anything he won't want to do. When you go back and you look at what happened with Rooker McGroarty, he was really frustrated and really upset when that got out. It was very disappointing because when they drafted McGroarty and they went through the interview process, they thought that they had received assurances that everything would be okay. It was a bit of a kick in the teeth for the Jets when that happened. But what did Cheveldayoff do? He calmly said, all right, this is my new reality. And he waited until he got what he felt was an equal prospect. He got Yeager. And I think that is the blueprint for what we're looking at here. He will allow Lambert to talk to teams. He will allow Lambert's agent to talk to teams. But at the end of the day, he's the one that has control over what happens. And his history has shown that he won't make a deal unless he thinks he gets what he believes is fair market value for that player. So I would expect something that he considers equal to Lambert's value.
Well, Elliotte, we always appreciate the time. We have a lot of people in the chat that want to know.
Right.
Have you already, because it's a Sportsnet game today, have you already decided what your abbreviations are going to be?
You know what? I've taken a bit of a break from the abbreviations because you have, Sarah, you have to have people wanting more. You can't overdo it. So there are occasions where I would take a timeout because you want people to be waiting for it. But I would tell you for a game like tonight, it would probably be Wig Coos.
Let me tell you, if you left people wanting more, certainly.
Wait a sec. You guys aren't playing Columbus tonight. Toronto's playing Columbus tonight.
Washington.
Yeah. Oh, so it would probably be Wig One.
I like
WIGWON.
Okay, perfect.
for it.
Yeah, that's right.
This is, you would not believe if you scrolled through our chat, it's so many people wanting to know and then also predicting, trying to guess
Yeah.
what it would be. So
You've created something.
you
You've
might
created
want to
a
I
bring
monster.
love
it
you
back.
all.
Dang,
Thank you very much, people. It'll be back. It'll be back.
We
Wigwam.
appreciate the time so much, Elliotte.
Thanks, Elliotte.
Take care.
Elliotte Friedman joining us.
One of my absolute favorites. All right.
We asked him so many questions. I didn't get to. I wanted to ask him Italy, but we'll have to.
We'll have to
Text.
ask him. We'll have to ask him if he'll come back another time for
Yeah.
us. As we quickly get ready to wrap things up, we do want to say that there is a new ground control that is out right now.
Yeah.
People don't want to miss it. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Dean Chanel joined us. His dad was the president/commissioner of the Western Hockey League for a very long time. In fact,
Yep.
there's a photo over here with Dean winning the Memorial Cup when he was with the Medicine Hat Tigers, and his dad's presenting him the Memorial Cup, which is pretty wild. So his dad and his family, like his mom Linda, his brother Jeff was a GM of the Kootenay Ice for the longest time. Actually, Dean, Jeff, and Linda owned the Kootenay Ice for a bit before they sold them. So their name is synonymous with the Western Hockey League, but his name is very challenging. It's Chanel.
Yes.
When you see it. So I asked him about that, and he said his mom actually phoned into a radio station one time to scold them for mispronouncing their last name. I also asked him about long bus trips because I traveled with the Westbrook Hurricanes for a long time on the bus. It sucks if you can't sleep. So Dean has some good tips on, for long bus rides, how you can get comfortable and how you can sleep. And then I asked about the magic of Josh Morrissey. But here's that answer about long bus rides. It's the guy that rode the buses a lot as a player, as a coach, GM, etc. What kind of advice do you have for aspiring coaches for a great sleep on a long bus ride?
You really do cut your teeth in the Western League with some of the road trips. As coaching, we would either have the Gatorade bucket at the front, a cooler, and pillows on it, and you would share it with the other, but you can never have enough pillows when you're on a long road trip. Good fuzzy blanket always helps too.
Hey, can't disagree with what he's saying.
He had a very good compliment for Jets fans, and I had asked him what he admired about the Jets organization or the Winnipeg Jets before he was hired, then certainly afterwards. And one of his main things was he had heard that not only are Winnipeg Jet fans, all Canadian fans are passionate, but he says Winnipeg Jets fans are compassionate. So he says you'll be approached in the streets and you won't be like, you guys suck. He's like, how's so-and-so doing? How are you doing? It's going to be okay. So I felt for a guy that's pretty new here to say that about you guys, I think was the highest compliment, and it says a lot. And especially with Adam Lowry when he came on, he had people would come up to him and ask him, "How's the hip?" We're more concerned, and he said, he got asked that question. He felt like he should have a prepared statement because of how many times. So like the highest amount of respect for Jets fans from Dean Chanel. So it's thank you, I appreciate that. It was. Yeah, I'll get one with Flats for sure. I think Flats would be very interesting.
He'll be very entertaining.
Like I thought Flats was the most gruff person ever when I first came here, and then you get to know him, and like he's the nicest guy ever. And he's magical with goaltenders
for sure.
So that'd be easy to find out. But please watch Ground Control with Dean Chanel or listen to it. It's one of my favorites. We always have players that have a bigger draw, but I find players can't say as much as a coach can or a retired alumni can say. So I invite you to watch it. It's really good. There's a lot of good stuff in there. And especially I asked him what the average fan doesn't notice about Josh Morris. He has a great answer about, and then how more confident Josh was when he came back from the Four Nations face-off. I found that very interesting as well. So please tune in.
All right. We definitely will. I'll be doing it this afternoon.
Thank you for reminding me what the clip was about.
No problem.
Even though it's my podcast and I had totally forgot. So
let's quickly take a final look
Yeah.
at the lines before you guys leave. Again, changes to your second and your fourth line. Vladimir Mesnikov moves back into the middle. Morgan Barron on that fourth line moves to the left side alongside Jonathan Taves and Gus Nyquist. And there is that NHL debut. Elias Salamonson will make his debut tonight. He is expected to be paired or at least start with Dylan Sandberg. So a lot to watch for tonight as the Winnipeg Jets kick off this 5-game road trip in Washington against the Capitals, hoping that we see them get back into the win column and kick off this road trip the right way.
That's a nice thing to say. Thank you. Also, hey, it's a 6 o'clock puck drop, which is amazing. I think we get that.
It's on Sportsnet.
All 5 games, right? 6 o'clock?
Maybe.
I could be wrong.
No, I don't think so. It's earlier.
And it'll be fantastic to see Elias Salmonson do his victory lap or debut lap, solo lap, whatever you want to call it. But that's always fun. So lots to watch for tonight. We will see you guys on Friday.
Yeah, there will be lots to talk about on Friday as the Winnipeg Jets continue the road trip. It will be game 2. It will be in Carolina. And as always, we hope that you will join us. If you don't have the opportunity to listen live, you can listen afterwards, also available in podcast form, so that if you want to listen to it on the drive home, maybe after work or on your way to the grocery store, feel free to.
It's rare that we know who our next guest is. Mike Maniscalco will be back. We'll have lots of 80s and 90s
That's right.
references. We brought him back for that because he was disappointed we were not on our game. We'll be ready on Friday, so make sure you tune in. Thanks for watching.
Thanks so much for checking in, everyone. Have a great day.